Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is Holcombe, Ministry of Defence Wild Creature Sighting, 1980s. Way up on Holcombe Moor is an army training centre and lots of land owned by the MOD. Posted with danger signs, it's not accessible to your average human. But as this area is very close to the source of the River Irwell, along with many British wireman sightings lie along the Irwell route. I recently got back in touch with the witness to see if he would appear in the new documentary Elusive, but sadly, due to ill health and fear of being identified, to be honest, prevented him from appearing. But he did manage to fill me in a little on some of the details. And this is the original account, which was taken by Adam Bird in 2013. DB witness statement. I'm an ex-service personnel who wish to tell you about two separate sightings of what I believe is the same creature over an 8-week period in the 1980s. Both happened to me whilst training up in the hills close to Holcombe. This is only a short hop from the Forest of Bowland, and it has many different habitats with high windswept hills and low valleys where it's wooded and damp. It rains all the time, an ideal area for the Ministry of Defence, and the land is posted for mines and artillery. The witness was very wary about sharing these accounts with me, and it's only some of the information he is happy for me to share. He went on to add that on both nights he was on exercise and was in a position where he was away from the main action, about 200 yards on the outer perimeter in a guard position. He was well enough from the heavy use of blanks and flashbangs, but he still describes it as being very noisy and manic. Lots of action and noise, and he was hoping it'd be over quickly, as it was cold and drizzly, and they were lay flat in the underbrush, which was wet and damp. On the first occasion, the person was with another male colleague, and they were both wearing army camouflage, of course, and were doing their best to stay still and concealed. Tucked up in the grass, they both noticed movement off in the distance, and they became aware of a foul stench on the wind, which got worse as it came closer. They were hunkered down, not knowing what to do, in case this was some kind of test or trick to get them to leave their position, so they stayed put. And it was at that point the stench was almost too much, that they noticed a very large dark figure approaching them in the darkness. They thought at first it was someone with a huge backpack or kit, as the shape and the colour was all wrong, until they realised it wasn't clothed at all. It couldn't see us, he said, and I'm certain it was unaware that we were both there. But it was so hard not to jump up and run off. It was dark, and we couldn't make out anything too much until this thing hit a tripwire and a flash went off, and we could see it for a split second. It turned to run off, and we opened fire even though the guns were loaded with blanks. It was large, dark, and huge across the chest, and I think it had no idea we were there. We had to stay put till we got the all clear, and then we couldn't stop asking if this was a setup or part of the exercise. The next time we had free time, a small group of us set out to see if we could follow its path and find this thing. But other than strange prints that were smeared, too smeared to make out anything, nothing else was seen. And it worried me, I'll be honest, so I wasn't happy when we had to, for the second occasion, do a night manoeuvre, and it was a similar situation. But it was winter by now, and there was snow on the ground, so it's even worse conditions. I was with a female colleague, and we were both laid down on the ground in full camo, and again about 200 yards from the noise and action. It was almost exactly the same scenario, and I couldn't stop playing it over in my mind. I was really scared it would happen, and as I'm thinking this, I was greeted by a rank odour from the road below us this time. It was snowing, and a large dark figure was coming up the hill towards us. I was so scared I shouted, and like an idiot made myself known, and it looked in our direction. The camo must have worked, as it was looking in our direction but it couldn't see us, and it started to move closer still. When it was about 30 feet away, it pulled up suddenly, as if it sensed us. It snarled in our direction and took off running up a hill that was very, very steep. Once again, you couldn't make much out, just the size of this thing and the way it moved. It cleared the hill in about 3 seconds flat. This time my colleague didn't stay put and she was off after it. It was easy to see where it went due to the snow. We tracked it and it took us about 10 minutes at least just to get to the top of the hill, and that it had climbed it so easily in a flash. There were some smudged tracks like the other tracks from before, but there was no sign of it, and we returned to our spot and waited to return to camp. I'm still not happy about sharing this, and you know how much grief it caused me the first time I shared it. But I do want to know if anyone else saw anything whilst at that camp or on the hills themselves. There is so much MOD land in the UK. We can't be the only serving personnel that have seen these things. And obviously, I did advise this witness that no, they're not. There are some service personnel of Salisbury Plain, and there are service personnel. Let me get it correct. There is another case of it in the UK. I think it's Dartmoor. I'm not certain, but RAF Alconbury as well. That is a 30-year period of army personnel sighting what some call the hard stand monster. Others said was a standing wolf. Other people described it as an ape-faced wolf. But yeah, if you've ever stayed at that camp, or if you're from the Alcan area and you've found anything strange or witnessed anything strange, get in touch so I can let this witness know. So until next time, thank you very much. Good night.